Here's an update on striper fishing in the canal by End Eddie Doherty, a retired Massachusetts court clerk magistrate appointed by the late Governor A. Paul Cellucci, author of 7 Miles After Sundown about surf casting the Cape Cod Canal for striped bass.
Welcome back to another exciting season of striped bass fishing on the Cape Cod Canal, the world famous Cape Cod Canal. So I hope you had a good winter. We had a good winter. My wife and I took our 5 grandchildren and their parents to Disney World, had a terrific time. I'll be broke by next week, but that's okay. And so my wife, Jado, had 2 hip replacements this winter, and I was her nurse on 2 months on each hip, and she had them done separately, but she's doing great. She's recovered, and notwithstanding my lack of nursing skills, she's doing terrific. So we've got a dropping west tide behind us here in the canal. I think it's going to turn slack pretty soon and be an eastbound tide pretty soon. There weren't any fish this morning, so hopefully they come in the east tide. And the water temperature shot up to over 60 degrees, so which is good because striped bass like it to be 55 to 69 in that range. So fishing hasn't been great, but it's been good. I say it hasn't been great only because compared to last year, which probably is an unfair comparison compared to what we had in the beginning of the season last year. It was just epic. But it's been good, and it has been great for some guys like Breaking Bob Ware. We call him Breaking Bob because he has a nose for finding breaking fish. And he caught a 28-pound striper with a white fish lab, and then a few days later he caught a 26-pound striper with a canal killer, a Hurley green mac canal killer, and they were both measured out to 42 inches. And Bob's a great fisherman, and he's been doing very well. Kenny Nevins caught some fish, including a 35-inch the other day when he was standing next to me, and it was a fat 35-inch. The boys this summer were out. Hollywood Petrarca and Paulie the Painter Gravina both caught 35-inch fish on white swatters around Mid-Canal. Mid-Canal's seen a lot of action, probably the most action, maybe equal to the West End. And Bill on the Grill Produce has been traveling with his wife Tina, but as soon as they got back, Bill got off the plane, got here, and he caught a 34-inch that was a pretty fat fish. So didn't take long for Bill to get back in the swing of things. And so a lot of guys have been catching fish. John Doble, Mashpee Mike Larea, Jimmy Kelly, Bull McKinnon, Al Mazzico, and California Joe Gray. They've all been catching fish. Ben Sivanen lost control after track after his 10th fish the other day, and he was using a white magic swimmer, which is a very popular lure in the canal. He caught those fish on a west flood tide, and the biggest fish he caught that day was 45 inches. So that's a big striped bass. It was an interesting story with J.P. Avila from Marlboro, nice guy. I think he's about 20 years old. He caught his first striper of his life on the canal, and that day he caught 7 striped bass. The first one he caught was 37 inches, which is a nice fish, especially when you're starting your career with that being the first fish he caught in the canal. And he was using canal bait and tackle, 5-ounce green mac shad. And I think the largest one he caught that day was 38 inches. So congratulations to JP. Mark the Preacher McNeil he caught so many fish one night. I was coming in about 3 in the morning. He was leaving, and he was fishing all night. He caught so many fish he was exhausted. He could hardly lift up his arms. We call him the Preacher because he ends every conversation with "May God bless you." And you know, I can take as many blessings as I can find. So that's fine with me. I was fishing next to Steve Colleran, a Vietnam-era Marine Corps veteran, great guy, and we're both jigging. I had a white Hurley canal killer on, and if you don't know what jigging is, it's fishing on the bottom with a heavy lure. Mine was 5 ounces. Steve's using a Algags, and they're soft plastic jigs, and so you bounce them off the bottom, and mine had a paddle tail on it, so you activate it in the current. But anyways, we're using jigs in the bottom, which is usually a really good method to fish. But while we're doing that, all of a sudden the fish start breaking in front of us. Now they're on the top, and some decent sized fish, and they're only 20 yards away. It was like waking up into a happy dream. And all these fish are breaking, so I didn't have time to put a pencil on, which is what you normally would use to fish on the surface. So I just threw my Hurley Canal Killer right into the middle of this pack, and I kept reeling very fast to keep the reel high in the water column. And then I activated the paddle tail through it and caught a 35-inch. And then Steve caught a fish about the same size. So the Hurley Canal Killer is really a very versatile lure, and I was happy to have that on. Jack Barton, a great guy, Finnish carpenter, nice guy from Berkeley. He caught the other day some slots and bigger. He caught a 42-inch and a 48-inch striped bass. That's a big fish. And he was using a colorless fish lab. He was all on the bottom on a west tide near the west end. And Jack's a great guy, so I was happy for him. 48 inches is the biggest fish of the season so far as I know. And you know, Memorial Day in May is a great day to honor our veterans. And Jeff Hopwood owns Mako's Bait and Tackle. And Jeff puts a patriotic phrase every year on the sign in front of Mako's. And so this year he put, to live in hearts we left behind is not to die. And I really appreciated that. I've always done what I can to help veterans and active military, and so doesn't Jeff. And Jeff's just a great guy. And you know, if it wasn't for our brave veterans, we couldn't live freely in the greatest country in the face of the earth. So whenever you can help a veteran, try to do that. I can tell you that there's been some improvements on the canal this year from last year. The men's room and presumably the ladies' room, I haven't been in there and I won't be in there, but the men's room has a nice setup where you walk right in front of the sink. As soon as you get there, the water goes on to wash your hands. It's not like, you know, you're in an airport and you got to wave your hand under it 5 times and then you get 20 seconds worth of water and you still got soap on your hands. This is just perfect. It's great. You walk in, as soon as you get up to the sink, a huge amount of water starts flowing and it keeps going until you're finished, until you walk away. And even the soap dispenser is nice. So I got to credit the Army Corps of Engineers for that nice improvement. That's great. And so I saw a woman walking by with a baby stroller, and I looked, I thought I'd see a baby. There was a dog in there, a little dog, cute little thing. I think it was a dog. Either that was a really ugly kid, but if that was a 1-year-old, he needed a shave. So I just want to mention to you that Barnes & Noble are having Barnes & Noble of Wareham are having a book signing for me on June 8th, on a Saturday, June 8th from noon to 2. And it's for my first book, 7 Miles After Sundown, which is all about fishing on the Cape Cod Canal. And so I'll be happy to inscribe and sign a book for anybody. Even if you don't want a book, if you just want to stop by and say hello, that'd be great. So my tip of the month is about carabiners. I love carabiners. I have them about this big, and I clip them on my my surf belt. I clip striper gear on my surf belt, on my surf bag, on my bike. It's nice to attach things you need there, and especially things you're going to be taking off. And so it's really good. I've used them for years. I see other guys using them. And just be careful when you clip it on, though. They have a tendency sometimes when they close, they don't close completely. It looks like it's shut, but the spring brings it to the end, but it doesn't close properly. So just make sure when you clip it, it closes properly and it looks right, so you don't lose any of your gear. So until next month, catch a big one.
Want your nice canal catch mentioned? Email the details to eastendeddie789@yahoo.com.